Test, test.
We're at 7:35. Before we begin our meeting, I ask that everyone please take a moment to silence their cell phones. Thank you. Will the clerk please read the compliance with the Senator Byron Bear Open Public Meetings Act?
In accordance with Section 5 of the Senator Byron Bear Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in the annual notice schedule, which contain the time, date, and location of this meeting, copies of which notices were forwarded to the official county newspapers, to wit, the Herald News and the Record, and a copy of which was posted on the bulletin board in the Bergen County Justice Center and Administration Building, 1 Bergen County Plaza, Hackensack, New Jersey, and filed with the office of the Bergen County Clerk.
Roll call, please.
Freeholder Amoroso.
Here.
Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Vice Chairwoman Ortiz.
Here.
Freeholder Tinelli.
Here.
Freeholder Voss.
Here.
Freeholder Zur.
Here.
Chairman Sullivan.
Here. Evidence of a quorum is present. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Mr. Florio, will you lead us to the Pledge of Allegiance?
Thank you, Chairman. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone kindly remain standing. I ask you to remain standing for a moment of silence as we remember the 11 victims of one of the deadliest anti-Semitic attacks in U.S. history, which occurred in Pittsburgh at the Tree Life Synagogue on Saturday, October the 27th. I'd ask for a moment of silence. Thank you. Will the clerk read the minutes to be accepted?
September 12th, work session, Freeholders Ortiz and Tonelli absent. September 26th, public session, all present. October 3rd, work session, Freeholder Tonelli absent.
May I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimously approved. We'll now have the hearing of the general public with a 3-minute time limit in effect in accordance with the Bergen County Freeholder bylaws. The board attorney will keep the time. When the time of the speaker expires, the board attorney will announce that the time has expired. Please fill out the slip of paper with your name, address, and general topic of which you wish to speak. Mary Walsh.
You want to know where I live? Hackensack, New Jersey. So this evening, my topic is things that don't jive. First, I was in the area behind the Puffin, and I think Freeholder Sullivan had mentioned, can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Had mentioned that you want to make Area 2 beautiful, and that place behind the Puffin is absolutely magnificent. And if Area 2 were like that, it would be so unique, because there's nothing like that around here, especially in this end of Bergen County. So as far as the parking goes, you could park on that old Fort Lee Road, you know, which extends almost the whole way. Because if the place were open to people who were going to enjoy the nature, then that would be sufficient parking for them. On the topic of the 200-car parking lot, which is supposedly to help the overflow of the other side of the park, it doesn't seem logical to cut down lots of trees for the sake of grass, because the other side of the park has plenty of grassy areas. So you really don't need 200 parking spaces, especially because the field station Dinosaur doesn't even pay their rent. I have a copy of all the receipts that the county has received since 2016, and I'm going to pass this around. You'll see that they don't pay their rent on time. They're often in arrears.
Mike.
Oh, okay, great. But my favorite part is this, where the lady who takes the money records, and she says, called Fred and asked him where the rent was. He says, because it's 3 months overdue, he says, well, I'll send it to you when I get out to Kansas. So you'll see her handwritten comments, called for the rent, and all the dates that she called for the rent. So now, here's a copy of the money, the receipts, the money that this thing has actually generated, and you'll see that it's going downhill since 2012. So what doesn't jive for me is why you would let somebody like this in to such a pristine area, which could be so special, when you could have a very small parking lot and provide the nature that people of Bergen County want. Finally, is the 3 minutes up? Finally, here is a copy of this is from 2012.
It's 3 minutes.
This is inaccurate. It does not show the meadowlands, the wetlands that are there at the present time. So this thing is inaccurate. Thank you. Is that my bell?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. This is from 2012. They didn't come here till, I think, 2014, just for the record. Christopher Hester Brink.
Yeah, they don't. Christoph Hesterbrink from Leonia. First of all, I want to congratulate Freeholders Zur and Tenelli for your re-election.
Thank you.
And I'm also here to speak about Area 2 a little bit from a different angle because I'm a little late to the party, so I don't know all the details. But the more which comes up, the more questions come up. I was at a Leonia council meeting on Monday. That's all right.
I didn't like where you were going with that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I have to tell the mayor that, yeah. So I was at the Leonia council meeting on Monday, and we had about 40 to 50 people in the public area, not because of Area 2, no worries yet, but it was because of environmental concerns we actually introduced and passed an ordinance to ban styrofoam packaging for food. But then also in the public comment sections, both at the beginning of the meeting and towards the end, Area 2 came up. And that meeting ended actually at 10:30 p.m. And they're kind of on the same scale as you, start at 7:30 and normally doesn't go that long. So my message here is that the more people learn about it, the more questions come up. And I have not found anybody who is in favor of it. And I'm not somebody who goes, oh my God, this is what's happening. It's like, this is what's proposed. And univocally, people say, we don't want commercial use of the park, which we paid for and we fought for, because there's a lot of history how this came about, you know better than I do. And we certainly want to preserve our green space. In Freeholders Zur, you said at the last meeting, like there are 9,000 acres of open space in Bergen County, which is great. But in this area, we don't have as many. Or was it 6,000?
It was 9,000 in our park system.
Our
There's
park
many
system.
more of open space that have been preserved through
True,
municipalities.
park system, I say corrected.
They're
But
county parks.
here in South Bergen County, like Overbeck Park is one of the few we have. So I don't want to criticize in any way what you said. You're right about it. But in this most densely part of the county, we needed more, like there are more people who need this space. So I, again, would put my trust in you that you preserve it, that you use your power to do the right thing for the people. And there are not many who want this as a commercial development. Thank you.
Okay. Again, for the record, for the fifth, probably, I don't know how many times, we are preserving the area. It's an area that needs to be remediated. We're remediating it. Yes, there's going to be an area with dinosaurs, but right now there's nothing there. The area that was talking about, the spots where the parking lot would go, that has to be capped anyway. So it makes sense to put a parking lot there. But, you know, through everyone's talks, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about redesigning what's going there. You know, it just gets me a little bit that people say we're not preserving that area. We're totally cleaning up the area, which is uninhabitable right now. People can't get to it. We're going to make it so people can get to it and enjoy it. And there'll be a little carve-out of that property. But for the most part, the vast majority of that project is going to benefit every single person that goes there and anyone that lives in the area. And I know a lot of people are coming up and talking about our open space. You should really be talking to your municipalities as well to maybe start an open space fund in your town. We do our part here in Bergen County. We fund it pretty heavily. I live in Montvale. We fund our own open space. And I hope that the towns that don't will look into putting a penny per 100, similar to what we do, to preserve their open space. Because the reason there's not a lot of open space is because the municipalities continue to pass things at their planning board and zoning boards, and we seem to get the brunt of it. So I don't want anyone to come here and think that we are knocking this whole area down. The whole area is going to be paved. It will be beautiful when it's done. It's going to be passive recreation, and I think everyone's going to enjoy it. So now that I just opened myself up to some more criticism, Stephen Quinn. How are you, Mr. Quinn?
Very good to be back, Mr. Chairman. And I'd like to congratulate Freeholders Zur and Freeholder Tonelli for their success. And I'd also like to start by, again, thanking the board for approving the funding to the Open Space Trust Fund for Ridgefield Park. I'm chairman of the Environmental Commission, and we will be using that to enhance our nature preserve in Richfield Park, which is adjacent, by the way, to Area 2.
Mr. Quinn, stop the clock for a second. Does Richfield Park have an open space fund? No. Established?
We do not.
You
We do not. No,
Okay.
we don't.
Okay.
Which is why your funding from the county was so important to us. But that being said, I know you all really have an awareness and appreciation for preserving open space as demonstrated to Richfield Park. I would really urge you, if you haven't, I hope you have, to visit Area 2. The last meeting, Mr. Chairman, you said that the area was closed and it was the signs for hazardous area and everything else. I'm not saying this to get you annoyed, but I visited it, and it's not closed at all. There's a big sign that says Overpeck Park, and the gate is open. There are no signs saying hazardous materials or dangerous area or keep out or anything like that. My wife...
The dinosaurs probably stole them.
They really did. My wife and I now regularly stroll the old Fort Lee road bed that extends through the middle of Area 2. And it is a beautiful area. It is a magnificent area. It is composed of both forest, open field, and freshwater wetland. So as a natural area, as an area for studying nature and studying environmental science, it is superb because you have plants and animals adapted for all of those three ecosystems. Now, the area where field station dinosaurs will occupy will take up the entire woodland area. Gone. The parking lot will take up a considerable size, a large percentage of the wetland area too. And we all know how rare, Mr. Chair, I really would invite all of you to please join.
I did it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, continue.
You
I'm
did
not
visit,
interrupting.
okay. Oh, that's so good, really. We'd love to have you visit. For instance, you know, just as an example, this evening, my wife and I, we saw a herd of deer, spectacular 2 bucks, which were beautiful big animals, and a number of migratory birds. These little patches of green space in the middle of vast areas of concrete and development are so important for wildlife, and they're so wonderful for viewing wildlife because wildlife and nature is concentrated there. So I would please ask you, if you can, I'd be happy to accompany you. I know Don
3 minutes,
Torino
Mr. Quinn.
has invited you as well. Please do join us for a nature walk.
I will.
Please
Thank
do.
you.
Thanks.
And speaking with our administrator, just the area that the parking lot is going to be on is the land that needs to be capped for the dump. That, I don't know, maybe there's a disconnect. But Freeholder Tonelli wanted to say something.
So I did walk the site, and the problem is, and Don admitted when we walked, when you're looking to the right of Fort Lee Road, that all has to be taken out. That's the word. Don't say no. I walked it. So you're under misconception. We spoke that all that foliage, all the trees, all the garbage has to be removed. So as it appears right now, where the deer were, where I saw them as well in the morning, that's all has to be capped. All that garbage has to come out and has to be capped. It's going to take years for that to grow back over. Guys, we keep telling you to wait till we get the plans from the administration, what they're planning on doing there. You could keep coming back every week, and we love to have you. We love to get feedback from the audience. But we don't have anything to review, and you keep telling us what we're doing and giving us stuff that's outdated. That we don't review this. We're going to wait for the plan to come from the administration to review it, and then we'll share it once it's agreed. There's been points that Don made to county executive that he's already talked to the Parks Department to make sure it was included, access to the trails. No one is supposed to be on there. Matter of fact, he got me in trouble. One of the people came up to the microphone and said we walked the trail, and the administration got a little upset because we're not supposed to be there. So you just need to be patient and wait until we get something before we start accusing that the map's not right and this overlay's not right. We don't have anything to tell you you're right or wrong. Wait till they give us whatever we need from the administration, and then we could sit down. Please.
Some of the areas that may look beautiful are areas that need, you don't
They're
know.
gonna be wiped.
They're gonna have to be, it has to be wiped out because of the pollution and the garbage that's underneath it. So that it may look beautiful to you when you walk in it, but you don't have the entire plan there. And that's a great point by the freeholder. Laura Tracy Call? Thank you.
Hi, I live at 41 Washington Avenue, Elmwood Park, and I'm the co-chair, conservation chair with the Sierra Club. I think that's part of the problem is, no, we don't have the plans.
Right.
But a hearing was held, and we were asked for our opinion on the plans. And we keep on getting corrected. We don't seem to know the number of parking spots. We don't seem to know how big carved out means you must have seen something. We would like to be privy to that information as well. How can we get, even Ms. Zuer said, I asked her if she didn't have any information. She said, no, I have information. So if you have information, can the public have this information?
It's in, what I said was it's in the process of being finalized, and when we have the
No, I
information,
said-
you will have the information.
I said, I know you said you don't have any information, and then you corrected me. So that means
We
you
have
have
only-
some information.
Only what's been made public.
Well, you already know it's a different number of parking lot spaces than what the public was told. It's a different site plan than what the public was told, but the public was asked to comment on it. So Mr. Tedesco or Executive Tedesco, during his candidate forum, promised us another hearing. So we would like to have this information before that hearing so we could comment on it. We can,
That's what the hearing's
Sharon,
for.
may I?
Just let her finish, and
Yes.
we'll address it.
because there's another, phenomenon that's going on. When we're incorrect and leaving the podium, somebody's yelling after us the facts. And that's pretty embarrassing for us because we're doing our best to find the facts from day one of the hearing. I submitted to Mr. Sobel many, many requests for the documentation. He ignored me. So this is a problem for us. So number one, we'd like to know when the hearing is going to be, and number two, when we would get this documentation.
I don't have that information. I don't know when the county executive is planned for a hearing.
Because what
I'm
we
sure
do
when you-
fear
I'm
is that
sure-
it will just be signed.
I'm sorry?
We seem that this agreement will just be signed, and we will never be told, and that's
can't-
really what we fear.
If the county executive told you he's gonna have another hearing, I suggest you call the county executive. We have our administrator right here. I'm sure he will relay your concerns to the
Okay.
county executive tomorrow.
And Mr. Sullivan, how do you know they're carving out? You must have seen some plans, so there must be some plan in existence.
Just everything that you saw. I mean,
Mr. Chairman, may I for one moment?
please.
I think where I'm getting frustrated, and I think you're getting frustrated, but I can tell you where I'll just speak for me. Where I'm getting frustrated is that you don't trust or believe that we're actually hearing anything that you're saying to us. We have been listening, we've been hearing, and we've been absorbing. And I know that the county executive has taken the thoughts and the processes back to the drawing board, and that they're going forward to try and come up with a better solution. So yes, you're right, we don't have anything, because they're in the process.
Right,
And
is
as
this
soon
a
as we do-
private
no, no,
process, or
no,
can
no,
the
we've
public
listened-
be privy to it?
Once it is finalized, they will come before the public again.
But that's late in the game.
It's not late in
finalized.
the game. It's exactly where you were in the game 5 weeks ago.
You
when
have
came before it.
received many letters
But I'm just,
at the hearing, all against it, not one in favor of it, but we're hearing that public and private partnerships work out great. Oh, it's not really, it's a garbage dump, it's not really valuable land. We
it is-
hear comments to the
it's in
contrary.
need of remediation.
Right.
That thing, we are legally required
Right, there's a lot
to
of
have to
surface
clean it up.
debris piles in that
It's- it's-
area. There are very
3
few
minutes, Ms.
capped
Tracy
areas.
Call.
I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Brian Peck, youth golf.
Sorry to change the topic, is that
No,
Grateful.
No.
Well, do you like dinosaurs?
great? Yes, my name's Brian Peck, live in Westwood. Have a 9-year-old son who's been playing golf since he was 2, competitive golf for the past 3.5 years. I don't know if anybody else here is interested in golf. Bergen County has a lot of great golf courses, but you have to be 12 or older to play them. There are 2 exceptions to that rule. You can join the Pioneer League, and then you're allowed to play with an adult, provided it's after 4 o'clock on most days of the week. There are better options in other counties. Passaic County, for example, lets all kids play whenever they want, with an adult, of course. Morris County also offers golf for children under the age of 12. You get certified by one of their pros. You know, the parent goes with the kid. They do like a 45-minute go through, and that pro then certifies the kid, and he's allowed to play for free with an adult after 5 o'clock on most days of the week. So those are not great options, but they're better than the Bergen County options. And I'm bringing this up for a couple reasons. So one is, by way of example, my son's playing competitive golf, and there are a lot of kids, believe it or not, playing competitive golf under the age of 12 in New Jersey. These are tournaments in North and Central Jersey. My son's played in about 40 North Jersey, quote, North Jersey tournaments, not one of which has been in Bergen County. There's also another reason to bring this up. I think there's 6 public courses in Bergen County. For them to be financially viable in 15, 20 years, kids have to start playing golf now. If they don't get involved in the game now, they're not going to be playing when they are able to pay and have the time and the funds to do that sort of stuff. These courses are going to be maybe public parks, condominiums, strip malls. They're not going to be golf courses in 20 years if we don't get kids involved in golf sooner. Thank you.
Thank you. Gia Schneider?
Gia, G-I-I, S and last name Schneider, S-C-H-N-E-I-D-E-R. Hi, I'm Gia Schneider. We live in Hillsdale, my husband and I. And earlier this week, we contacted you, Mr. Sullivan, regarding a utility line that's being placed very close to our property. And it has to do with Demarest Farms. So we came here tonight to see if there's a way we can open discussion about the future development of what's happening right next to our property. We bought the house last July, and I did already speak with the town, and they actually recommended that we come here.
Are you on a county road?
I live on Craig Road, so, I mean, yeah, it's a public road, but.
It's not a county road, though. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I don't know, I had spoken to people on the planning board and one of the engineers, and he had mentioned coming down to speak to you guys or reach out. So we were hoping that we could facilitate some type of discussion, and maybe we can get some help, or maybe you could point us somewhere else.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you want to stick around after the meeting, I'll have a conversation with you, and
Okay,
we'll see where we can go from there.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I saved the best for last. Chuck Powers, Tina. You're supposed to smile when I said it.
I appreciate your accuracy, Mr. Chairman. Chuck Powell. I want to just say that, well, in the first place, congratulations to those who won this last election. And we, as you know, conducted 3 separate forums, and all the candidates that we were able to contact, and we were not able to reach one, not only got there on time and were extremely well prepared, and I thought that, in fact, we actually served an important purpose for the county because of the way in which you folks functioned. It was really quite impressive. And I don't know if you know it or not, but the sheriff's one has reached over 10,000 people. Apparently 6,000 people have watched it. Wow. Not quite as many people watched you folks. Maybe that was because people had some sense as to where that election might turn out. I don't know. That's the case. But I do want to say that not only were those live streamed, but they continue to be available. And in terms of this little struggle we've just been having, there are commitments that were made both by the county executive and you folks as to how this thing ought to move forward. Over half the questions we got were about this one single issue. There's no question about it. And Green Acres says that it's the issue that they've never seen as much attention to a particular problem as this one has raised. It is really important that what you did say, which did suggest that you are at a point where you are going back and looking again at what to do, and then are going to be coming forward to the public. That all gets pretty well clarified in those statements, and I think it's you're on record on that, and I trust that you'll do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Freeholder.
Mr. Powers, I also just want to thank you for our debate, for postponing the time so that I could go to the vigil. It was really meaningful to me, and I just wanted to thank you for that accommodation.
Oh, it was a very important, it was a terrible 3-day cycle, and I knew that you were under, well, we were all appropriately under pressure, but some folks felt it more than others, and of course, it was the right thing to allow you to go to Tenafly. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, unfortunately, Mr. Powers, someone just handed me a slip, so you're not the best to last. It's Jerry Caddison. Barring any unforeseen people, you'll be the best.
It's Kadison, Jerry, Jeri. Thank you. Thank you for letting me speak, and I wasn't going to, but I feel that you're all listening and you hear, and I've never been to a Freeholders meeting, and I realize that dealing with the county has been so frustrating. It's just the state that's helping me. By background, I'm a language speech pathologist. I raised 2 kids in Teaneck. I did a show which was actually shown all over the county from 1997 to 2004 for Teaneck in the town council chambers. It was an update, and it was a live show, and I did it for 7 years. I had health segments, community segments, had everybody, officials from the county, and it was a wonderful thing to bring that show and to help other people. All the while I was being a victim of domestic violence, and I kept it quiet. And finally, after years of trying to go for help in the county and not being able to, post-divorce, I filed a restraining order to protect my 2 children and I. My ex-husband had married somebody very rich and had tried to, keep monies and funds. Nobody helped me in the county. I'm a resilient person. And finally, I got a temporary restraining order, but I didn't get a permanent. And then he filed for guns, and a gun permit was granted him by an appellate judge after the chief of police turned him down. And since 2002, and from the violence, I went through 15 years of surgeries. So I come to you tonight moving out of Teaneck in 2004 because I had just had it. I spoke to the governor and to the attorney general at a meeting for gun violence, and they were so receptive. And what happened was the governor did change that a TRO that judge never should have granted my ex. He had a letter, I'm going to kill you all, but my ex came with all these lawyers, all his wife's money. I don't care how much money he has, but there is something unfair, and nobody could help me in Bergen County. So now I moved back to Bergen County a few years ago, and now my mother is the victim of elder abuse. She's quite a famous person, and it started to affect me because she was just helping me get back on my feet. And unfortunately, I had to file for a restraining order against my brother. And it is a hate crime. And I got a temporary, but though the judge said on September 27th, I believe everything you're saying, he had a lawyer that acted like a monster. I just brought the CD up to domestic violence. There is no help in this county for elder abuse. I had for 2 years tried to protect my mother from the surrogate to every single department saying, hire a lawyer, hire a lawyer. Well, I'm still wiped out. I'm getting back to work. I'm working in Inglewood Hospital. I'm working with cancer patients. But after that experience of 6 hours being questioned by an attorney, my brother never got on the stand.
3 minutes, Ms. Caddison.
Thank you. And he is a violent, dangerous person, and there's no help for anybody in this county unless you have a lot of money. So I will forward letters to you, and thank you for listening, because I ended up with pneumonia for 5 weeks after that, and I'm just pulling my bootstraps up again, and thank you for this opportunity. We need help in this county, and I'd be happy to help you. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your statements. Bergen County has a lot of services that deal with domestic violence. We were the first one in the whole state to have a domestic violence program 40 years ago. So I don't know who you talk to. I don't know what information you have. Excuse me, I give you your time. But I don't want to be disrespectful. We have plenty of programs. If you want to get together with our administrator after, he can certainly guide you in the right direction. But Bergen County is out in front of the domestic violence issue. And we have plenty of, like I said, we have numerous programs. We always offer help. All you have to do, and I believe there's a domestic violence hotline.
There's also an elder abuse project through the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office, as well as through the Board of Social Services.
Everybody again.
I was going to get to that.
Sorry.
Thank you. I'll write you what really happened.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
But, are there any other services you want to talk about? No? Is that it, Trace? Yes. Is there any- Okay. Have a motion to close the hearing to the public?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Will the clerk please read the resolutions on the consent agenda?
Resolutions of consent are 1,057-18 through 1,142-18.
May I have a motion to accept the resolutions on the consent agenda as read by the clerk?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call?
Freeholder Amoroso.
Yes.
Freeholder Gans. Vice Chairwoman Ortiz.
Yes.
Freeholder Tinelli.
Yes.
Freeholder Voss.
Yes.
Freeholder Zur.
Yes.
Chairman Sullivan.
Yes.
7 ayes.
Are there any resolutions pulled, postponed, or tabled? If so, will the clerk please read?
There are none.
Thank you. Will the clerk please read ordinance 1836 by title only?
1836 is a bond ordinance providing for capital improvements by the County Prosecutor's Office by the County of Bergen, appropriating the aggregate amount of $500,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $476,000 bonds or notes of the county to finance part of the cost thereof.
May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 1836 as read by the clerk?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call, please.
Freeholder Amoroso.
Yes.
Freeholder Gans. Vice Chairman Ortiz.
Yes.
Freeholder Tinelli.
Yes.
Freeholder Voss. Freeholder Zur.
Yes.
Chairman Sullivan.
Yes.
With 7 ayes, 1836 passes first reading.
Thank you. We will now have the Freeholder Committee reports. I'll start with Mary Amoroso tonight, because I always make her go last.
That's lovely of you, Chairman.
Because I love you.
On Friday, October 26th, I attended the Prosecutor's SNAP Conference for Law Enforcement at the Venetian in Garfield. This year's topic was school safety, and the Prosecutor's School Safety Task Force, of which I'm a part, put together a list of best practices to maximize safety and prevent and minimize trauma of active shooter situations. Some of the things we talked about included the GPS app on first responders' cell phones, so that first responders know the layout of every building they're called to and where other first responders are in the building. County Executive Tedesco pioneered this GPS app here. Also an app called Live Safe that lets students do anonymous tip-offs if someone at school is raising red flags to them, making them nervous. The task force put together a questionnaire that allows schools to survey themselves about the strengths and weaknesses in the security of their physical plants. On Monday, October 29th, I attended a seminar on the use of deadly force sponsored by the Prosecutor's Office for the clergy. The highlight of the seminar is a live simulation of a couple of active shooter scenarios. I held the fake gun in a scenario with a shooter who was in a bulletproof vest and aiming a rifle at an office worker lying on the floor. I was slow to respond, and I died. Yesterday,
I'm sorry, it's not funny.
no, it was really something. Yesterday, Election Day, was a good day for us in Bergen County. We have a new sheriff in town, Anthony Curitan, who is grounded both in law enforcement and compassion for our citizenry.
Our county executive, Jim Tedesco, is reelected to a second term so he can do more good things for Bergen County's health, mental health, veterans, seniors, children, parks, and diversity. Two leaders on our freeholder board, Tracy Zur and Steve Tonelli, won election to a third term. Steve was kind enough to be a guide to two newbie freeholder candidates, me and Jermaine, in 2016. He is a thought leader and a voice, especially for our parks and for law enforcement. Tracy, as you know, is a fighter and a doer, particularly for women, children, mental health issues, and special needs. We are so happy they are both back with us. And finally, happy Veterans Day.
Freeholder Chairwoman, Vice Chairwoman Ortiz.
Thank you. I'll try to keep it short. I attended with my colleagues on the board and with the county executive made an announcement of the launch of the Hackensack Transit Connector bus routes, which will connect Hackensack's train stations and bus terminal with the county administrative complex, meaning this building and 2 Bergen next door and all the administrative buildings. In partnership between local, county, state, and federal government for making this project possible, using grant funding from the NJTPA with additional funding provided by Bergen County. The transit connector routes will help reduce the number of personnel vehicles on the roads and provide better public transit access to those without vehicles and individuals with mobility issues. There is no fee or residence requirement to use this transit connector, and that's with Bergen County being populated, I think we're always trying to find innovative ways in which we can get people to use more commuter services and keep less cars off the road. And this is definitely a great idea here for Hackensack, especially having all the municipal administrative buildings here next to our train stations and our bus stops. I was also proud to be able to speak at the Bergen Community College. They had the closing ceremonies for Hispanic Heritage Month. And again, they always do a lot in regards to their diversity at the college. I think they're about 32% Latino, and they had a wonderful ceremony representing all the different countries with different, they had dances and music and food. It was great, and we honored several of the professors and teachers from the college. And in the same week, the great report came out by the State Board of Education saying that Bergen Community College grads are the top earners among their peers. And it says that the first earning the highest salaries among the peers from the state's 19 two-year institutions and even out-earning peers from some of the 4-year colleges. The average salary 10 years after enrolling at Bergen is $38,400 with an annual average tuition cost of only $6,900 versus a 4-year college, which is an average of $43,000 after 10 years, but paying $20,837 average of tuition. So I'm extremely proud of Bergen Community College. I know we always talk about it, how proud we are of the college, and it's definitely the gem of Bergen County. And I conclude my report.
Thank you, Vice Chairwoman. Freeholder.
Oh, wait, one second. I'm not done.
I'm glad you were going to be brief. Freeholder.
No,
Ortiz.
I will, this will be brief, but I just wanted to congratulate our county executive for being reelected. And I especially want to thank I want to congratulate Tracy and Steve for coming back to us, because this team works well together, and I think we can get so much more accomplished, and I'm just so excited that you're back with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Done?
I'm done. Thank you, Chairman.
Freeholder Dr. Voss.
Thank you, Chairman. I also want to add my congratulations to Jim and to Tracy and to Steve and to Anthony. I have to say, Chuck's not here right now, but the grassroots debate for the sheriff candidates was absolutely fantastic, and I think it was so important that we learn about people's backgrounds and make the best choice. And so grassroots did a great job, and I'm sure Chuck is watching this. This evening, I missed the work session, which I hate to do, but I went down to Palisade Park because they were installing, they were giving raises and conferring different titles to several of the police officers. And it was really a wonderful experience because Palisade Park has had, some issues in the past, and I have to say that hundreds of people came out to this ceremony, and it was absolutely wonderful to see, first of all, the community coming together, and second of all, being so supportive of our police. And I want to say a special congratulations to new Sergeant George Beck, who has been a very, very wonderful person, and I wish him all kinds of success in the future. I think he will go very far. But I wish every community would treat their police and would treat their community as a group and not be divisive and, at odds with one another. So this was really something very, very special. Our county does a great deal for veterans, and I think A.J. Luna came to the work session today, and unfortunately I missed hearing him, but I know that I have sent many, many people to A.J. for assistance with various veterans issues, and he has been invaluable. And on November 11th, which is Veterans Day, not Memorial Day, but Veterans Day, too many people get the two confused. One is to remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice, which is Memorial Day, but Veterans Day is to say thank you to the men and women who have served our country. We're very lucky here in Bergen County that, as we said during the campaign, there are no homeless veterans in Bergen County, and as I said, we have very good services for them, so if anybody needs assistance, let us know. One of the people in my town who did tremendous awareness training for patriotism, for particularly the young people in town. But a couple of years ago, people were forgetting to remember Memorial Day and forgetting to remember Veterans Day. And the person who was the head of our local Veterans of Foreign Wars, James Viola, practically single-handedly revitalized the parade on Memorial Day and the commemoration of our veterans on Veterans Day. Jimmy passed away, unfortunately, this year. He was well into his 80s. He had served in World War II. And on Veterans Day, we are going to be dedicating a plaque to his memory, and I will be speaking about all of the contributions that Jimmy made to our town, and actually to all of Bergen County, because our commemorations became some of the largest in the county. And please, remember the veterans. Only a very small percentage of our men and women are in the military today, and we should say thank you to all of them for the service that they perform for us. And God bless America. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder Gantz.
Thank you, Chairman. 100 years ago this month, an agreement was signed in France to end the hostilities of World War I and, in fact, put an end to all war. That, of course, was unduly optimistic. But here in Bergen County, we have made veteran services a priority. My son Scott served in Afghanistan. My dad was flying the flying fortresses. And we understand the importance of not only paying back the veterans, but making certain that those veterans who made the ultimate sacrifice are honored. On November 12th, free flu shots will be available to veterans here in Bergen County. That's all for now.
Thank you, Freeholder Gantz. Freeholder, re-elected Tinelli.
Thank you, Chairman. I don't have a report prepared today, but I just wanted to take a few moments to thank the county executive and my freeholder colleagues for their friendship and support. We have a great team up here. The proof is in the pudding for the great things that Bergen County has done, making huge strides in the last 4 years in so many ways, and I look forward to spending the next 3 years with all of you to continue the great work that we've already done. But there's still some heavy lifting that needs to be done to right the ship. And I just want to, like everyone else, echo everyone else's sentiments to remember Sunday is Veterans Day, but every day should be Veterans Day. We should be thanking our veterans. It takes 2 seconds to just shake the hand of a veteran and thank them for their service. You'd be surprised the reaction that you'll get, the positive feelings, and just let them know they're appreciated. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder re-elected Zor.
Thank you, Chairman. First, I want to thank everyone in Bergen County who last night showed their endorsement of the job that Steve and I have been doing on this board for the last 6 years. The overwhelming message that we received at the ballot box was really something we felt all along the way for the last several months on the campaign trail. To all of those who helped kind of amplify what we've been doing up here and who do what we do in county government, I want to thank you so much. We have a lot of work that we've accomplished, but so much more that we look forward to doing all together up here over the next 3 years. There were a lot of government responsibilities and events along the way that really reminded me and underscored why it is that we want to serve on this board and the things that we're doing that make an impact in the lives of so many throughout the county. Whether it was the Bleshman Roll-a-thon, where we saw kids in wheelchairs participating and raising money for causes, or the Salute to Champion breakfast, which honored those with unique abilities who are making impacts so amazing in other people's lives, or the Center for Alcohol and Drug Resources, which is helping those and educate those who are on the front line dealing with our opioid epidemic, or the SNAP conference that Freeholder Amoroso mentioned, or the ribbon cutting of McLaren, where we brought in a new business with 125 new jobs and highlighted really the work that our economic development folks are doing in attracting new businesses and highlighting the strengths of Bergen County, or whether, I could go on, actually, I probably shouldn't, but
I was waiting for the gavel.
I could go on. But on top of all of that, with the backdrop of Pittsburgh and the mail bombings and the shooting in Louisville, it also underscored why it is important for us to be serving in government, why it's important for us to have a platform and really talk about and embrace our diversity, but also to really make sure that we're ensuring that hate has no home here in Bergen County. So to all of you on this board, I just want to say thank you for all the work that you did and the support. You are the only folks who understand what it is to run in 70 towns. So I want to thank you for your sanity checks along the way and for really encouraging and for being such amazing partners. To our team, to County Executive Tedesco, to Sheriff Anthony Kiridan, to my running mate who I've had the privilege of serving with for the last 6 years. I couldn't have been part of a better team, and I am so proud of what we were able to highlight to the voters of Bergen County. To Tara Chatterjee, thank you so profoundly for holding it all together and for keeping up with and keeping straight my ridiculous schedule over these last several months. I can't thank you enough for drinking the Kool-Aid. And to my family,
Tom's giving me a look.
I want to just thank them also because they remind me of why we do this. And Mr. Chairman, thank you for indulging me for these extra few moments tonight. I can't promise you I won't babble on other nights, but thank you for letting me do so tonight.
No, you weren't babbling at all. Thank you, Freeholder. Thank you, Freeholder Zor. I'll give my committee report and continue our commitment to providing savings for the taxpayers of Bergen County. Tonight, the Freeholder Board has approved shared services agreement with Teterboro and Closter to provide the use of county street sweepers as well as the county-owned emergency and non-emergency vehicles, all at a reduced cost to those towns and revenue producing for the county. Since I've been on this board, I've been one of the champions. We've all been champions, but I've certainly made it a priority of mine to get out in front with shared services, as we all have, and we continue and continue and continue to do it. And the more people catch on, the better we're all going to be, because it's a win-win for both the municipality and the county. and it saves us both money. We have the equipment, we get some revenue by lending to you, you pay a reduced fee, and that's what shared service is all about. Our residents get what they need in terms of services, and we do it together, and we pool our services at a reduced rate. I'd also like to take the opportunity to recognize and thank all my brothers and sisters of labor and unions who worked tirelessly to help so many candidates this year and contribute to their victories, all to maintain our middle class. And that's why it's done, and that's why they do what they do, and I appreciate that. I'm grateful to them all for helping my colleagues, Steve and Tracy, and I'm thankful for their support that they have shown to labor. As an elected official, I support all the efforts that they've shown to our candidates who support labor. You know, I was with Freeholders or the Workforce Investment Board, and they continue to talk about the need for skilled labor, which has seemed to gone by the wayside in the country for way too many years. I happen to be fortunate and come from a union where they offer apprenticeship and training, and I was able to have a skill and learn a skill, and we need more of that today. Too many people think we all talk about stigma-free in the towns. Sometimes parents or even individuals have a stigma with working with your hands, and there's nothing wrong with it at all. It's a honorable living, and it's a middle-class living, and we need to get back to it. I can tell you that the high school I went to, I took electrical in electric shop, and that's what started me in my career as an electrician. I mean, we also offered auto shop, metal shop, wood shop, things that a lot of schools don't offer anymore, and it's time that we start looking back and realizing the need for these programs. Special congratulations to a friend that I met last year, Maria Nolan, the varsity volleyball coach at IHA in Washington Township. She won her 1,000th, she had her 1,000th career victory last week, and she did it in style by winning the Bergen County Championship. Maria is just a great person and a wonderful role model, and she's also an icon in high school sports. I want to say thank you to the Council of the Irish Association of Greater Bergen County. Freeholders and myself attended their kickoff dinner for their annual St. Patrick's Day Parade. I would recognize some people that did some wonderful community service there, and I want to say thank you to them for having us and for also being a wonderful part of the community. There's over 100,000 Irish people living in Bergen County. That's not even including my family. So I want to congratulate all the elected officials in the state and the county, from Menendez, Tedesco, Curitin, Pascal, Gottheimer, Sirius, Lagana, Tully, Swain, Calabrese, and as one of those who have won locally, as well as my colleagues, Freeholder, Tinelli, and Zor. I think this was a very, very special election, and some things had to happen to bring some sanity back into the country, and I think some things did happen. I know in Bergen County, I don't think there was really other choice than the ticket that of Tinelli and Zor and our county executive, Jim Tedesco, who has just done some wonderful things since taking over 4 years. And on our Freeholder board, the way we all get together and discuss issues, I think it's a credit to us and to our county executive especially, and our party chairman, Lou Stellato, who helps us, sees things the right way as a former mayor. So everyone's been influential, and the county's running, it's running great right now. But we know we can do better. We're going to do better. We're going to continue to find ways to make it better. But I just want to say congratulations to my colleagues. I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud to sit here and serve with you. And that concludes my report. I don't think I have anything else, Jermaine. I think that's it. Okay.
Did you take your nice pills today?
I was very nice to Freeholder Tinelli. He's not used to it. So. Oh, yeah, I do. Now, I do have something else. I just want to, for the record, put that Freeholder Tinelli, for the first time in 6 years, gave his acceptance speech the right way and recognized his wife and family. So I want to congratulate my buddy for that. Thanks, Steve. Okay, so there being nothing further to come before this board, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We are adjourned at 8:32.